The standard reproach that I hear and read about many worlds is that one cannot even imagine how to test it with today's knowledge. That it's just an empty hypothesis. It resolves such many paradoxes, blah, blah. But with today's knowledge, we cannot get a clear test.
Good.
This
so that's
approach
wrong.
was already made decades ago.
But you do hear it a lot.
Yeah. Please, go on.
So
I'm
it
sorry.
depends on what you mean by test. And we have to get very carefully into the philosophy of science here, right? For two reasons. If what you mean by test is just the very naive falsifiability kind of idea that Karl Popper would have put forward, right? Can you rule out the theory by doing some experiment? Then the answer is clearly and straightforwardly yes, because the theory just says that there is a wave function and all it ever does is obey this particular equation. So if you ever see the wave function not obeying that equation, you have ruled out the theory, you have falsified it. And there are, I didn't mention, but there are other versions of quantum mechanics that predict exactly that in a very quantitative and testable way. So far, what we call the objective collapse of the wave function has not been observed in experiment, but as soon as we do observe it, if that ever happens, we will rule out many worlds.
Uh-huh. No, sorry to interrupt, but when you say has not been observed, so you don't buy this simplistic materialist, I also don't buy it, version, which says that no problem, collapse happens all the time in reality and so on, and you try to define registration or decoherence in a totally objective way. You don't buy this.
Well, I am super duper materialist, but I think that the only thing the wave function ever does is obey the Schrödinger equation. It does not collapse all by itself. So the alternatives, there's sort of sub-degrees within this materialist, physicalist camp. People like me think it's the Schrödinger equation from start to finish, and what we perceive as collapses are only apparent because we're not seeing the whole story. There are other people like Roger Penrose or others who think that the wave function violates the Schrödinger equation by suddenly collapsing on itself. I think it's very, very difficult to actually define a theory that works along those lines, but it does have the nice quality that it's very, very testable and it's very, very different in its predictions from what many worlds is.
Okay,
there's the other...
I'm sorry, please. I will discipline myself. Finish, please.
There's the other, even more subtle philosophy of science question, which is, okay, but what about many worlds versus the Copenhagen interpretation or Bohmian mechanics or something like that? And these are all very tricky, worthwhile asking questions. My answer is the following. The problem with Copenhagen versus many worlds is that Copenhagen is not a theory. It is not precise. It does not tell you when wave functions collapse, what a measurement is, what qualifies as a measuring apparatus. It's not that I can't test it. It just doesn't even tell me what the predictions are or what the ontology is. So if you're comparing many worlds to Copenhagen, it's not a fair fight because one theory is well-defined and the other one isn't. It is true that as far as I know, they have no difference in terms of experimental predictions, but they have huge differences in terms of being well-defined. Whereas with pilot wave theories, Bohmian mechanics, hidden variable theories, those are well-defined. I would like to be able to distinguish many worlds from them. I have a deep suspicion that they are experimentally distinguishable, but nobody has actually pinpointed what that difference is. So that is, to me, an open question. I think that there's a lot of Bohmians who think that their predictions are exactly the same as many worlds. I suspect they've not just been trying hard enough.
Okay, now I will try to be more precise. I agree with you. Isn't even one of about Niels Bohr? There is even one very vicious, but I like vicious formulations point that it repeats almost that the basic formula of Copenhagen interpretation is don't think, just calculate. Don't even ask these questions. Okay, let me go step by step. My problem with many worlds is that the way you put it, I would love this. Only wave oscillations, collapse is something that appears, blah, blah, blah. But isn't in some sense, although when I say in some sense, I don't mean it in a precise scientific sense, but it seems to me that many words interpretation simply multiplies realities. We lose a special, everything is true, in the sense of all possible variations are true. So and in some sense, what fascinates me, the ontological incompleteness, again disappears. Everything is fully there. The problem is our limited standpoint. Am I missing something here?
Yeah, so I'm happy about this one because you are missing something, and I can help
that's
a little
where
bit.
I like you. Yeah.
So two points worth making. One is that it is certainly not true that within many worlds, every possibility exists. It's very easy to point to possible worlds that don't come into existence. What many worlds says, after all, is that we obey the Schrödinger equation. And that implies a lot. For example, electric charge is conserved. I can imagine a world where a proton spontaneously turns into an electron. There is no such world in the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. There are many, many imaginable worlds that just don't come to be. The second issue, which is much more subtle and worth, you're allowed to disagree with many worlds on this one, is many worlds not only says here's the bunch of worlds, it says that the worlds don't count equally. That there is a weight or a thickness to them, and that helps explain why in quantum mechanics you predict there's a probability for X or a probability for Y, but the probability for X is 99% and the probability for Y is 1%. And that's a crucially important part of many worlds that you don't necessarily get if you're just thinking about David Lewis and possible worlds or something like that, right? Many worlds quantifies how big the worlds are, and that's crucially important.
But now I would like my police instinct again comes into action. When you say how big worlds are, is this a ontological category in the sense that some worlds are, sorry to use this term, you can explode, in some sense more substantially real than others? Or can you specify a little bit more this idea of more and less, whichever way you name it, big or strong worlds?
Well, and I do say the following thing often, and it always makes me feel bad, but this is something where if we write down the equations, it's crystal clear. In words, it's hard. But the answer is that it's not that one world is more real than another. They're both real. Let's take the 99% versus 1% example. They're both real, but the way it works out is if you don't know the outcome of the experiment, so you do the experiment, you make the observation, and you haven't looked yet. So maybe you're in the 99% world, maybe you're in the 1% world, right? The impact of this calculation, which is completely quantitative, is that you should assign a credence of 0.99 to being in the 99% world and a credence of 0.01 to being in the 1% world. So they're both real, but you're not equally likely to find yourself in them.
What I still don't get, and sorry, although I'm totally opposed like you to that hidden variables in the sense of there is one single substantial reality, what I still don't get here is, okay, Schrödinger equation said 99% blah blah. Then I agree with you, because of our limited standpoint, something happens. Why insist that parallel, or I don't like the word parallel, it's too physical, that at the same time another reality exists, alternate? What do you What do you gain by this?
Nobody wants this to be the case. Nobody is insisting that both worlds are there. That is the prediction of the Schrödinger equation. And the question is, you can either accept it, like I think of what Hugh Everett did as more therapeutic. He was a Jacques Lacan of physics. He wasn't writing down new equations. He was just saying, here are the equations, here are their implications, you have to deal with it. Or you can modify the theory. You can do violence to the Schrödinger equation to get rid of the other world if that makes you feel better. And you're welcome to try to do that. That's basically what the hidden variables people are trying to do. They're trying to invent a finger that points to one world and says, here's the one we're actually in. The others are there, but there's only one that we're actually in. That's why David Deutsch, for example, says that hidden variable peoples are just many worlds people in denial, because they know the other worlds are there, they just don't want to live in them.